Hello everyone and welcome to the Encoding, Filtering and Evasion Basics course conclusion. So here we are finally after completing the course, and if you remember in the course introduction video, I pointed out the fact that we will be really revisiting this video, using this video as a benchmark to analyze whether we hit all our targets in terms of the learning objectives. So the objective here is to see, whether we hit all of those targets and to sort of go over what we've covered in this course and how it ties into web application penetration testing. So revisiting the learning objectives, you can see that we start off from the first one, where you will have a good understanding of the importance of encoding on the web and its importance in the functionality of web applications. That is true. We did cover encoding quite extensively in terms of, getting an introduction to character sets. We talked about ASCII, Unicode, as well as UTF-8, the UTF-8 encoding schema. We got an understanding as to, why they were created, how they work, and of course, how the encoding or decoding is performed and its implementation into web applications or the web in general. Secondly, you will have a solid understanding of what content and input filtering is, how and why filtering is implemented in web applications, and how server-side and client-side filters can be bypassed. So yes, we took a look at client-side filtering and server-side filtering using practical examples. We also wrote some web applications that utilized HTML encoding for filtering. And we took a look at this, both on the client side with JavaScript as well as on the server side, and how it is implemented, typically with server-side languages like PHP. And we also dived into how both client-side filters, specifically for cross-site scripting vulnerabilities, and server-side filters, again, for cross-site scripting vulnerabilities, can be bypassed, using a plethora of techniques. And of course, we took a look at how this can also be automated with Burp Suite and utilization of specific, really helpful fuzzing payload lists from sec lists. You'll then have a functional understanding of what web application firewalls are, how they work, and how they differ from traditional proxies. So we got an introduction to evasion, where we took a look at, the actual process of implementing security controls or security mechanisms like proxies or even web application firewalls. So we pretty much got an understanding as to what they are, how they work, and how web application firewalls differ from traditional proxies. You'll also have a solid understanding of the most common forms of encoding on the web, how they work and how they are implemented. So we took a look at HTML encoding, URL encoding, and base64 encoding with practical examples. So we covered that quite well. You'll also have the ability to detect and bypass common client-side and server-side filters. So cross-site scripting filters, command injection filters, etc. So we took a look at that both on the client side and the server side, and we also utilized the live lab to essentially show how this can be done, how cross-site scripting server-side filters can be bypassed in a real-world web application. And in that case, we took a look at Camilo LMS. And then, of course, we took a look at how to bypass, or you will have the ability to bypass or evade rudimentary forms of protection or filtering imposed by proxies, web application firewalls, and even, server-side intrusion detection systems. So we explored pretty much all of these topics in terms of the actual content, and we utilized live practical demonstrations to go through them. So I would say all in all, we've covered or we've hit all of the learning objectives. And by the end of this course, which is now, you should be comfortable in all of these areas, and you should have a much better understanding of how the web works. And that was really my objective. My objective was not really to focus on the evasion or bypassing side of things, although they are important, but this will hopefully make you understand the web and web applications better in terms of how they work, how security mechanisms are implemented. So I hope, by the end of this course, you are comfortable, in terms of having a basic, or I would say a solid understanding of encoding, filtering, and of course, security mechanisms like web application firewalls, and of course, how to evade or bypass them. With that being said, that brings us to the end of this course. I would like to thank you if you've made it this far, and I'll be seeing you in the next course.